The desert didn't care that she was bleeding. The sun hung low and cruel, staining the sand red like it already knew what was coming. Wind dragged its fingers across the dry earth, whispering through broken shrubs and rusted fence wire. Clay Morgan reined his horse hard when he saw her, collapsed near the old water, trough dust exploding beneath her knees. She didn't scream. She tried to stand. That's what stopped him cold. Most people screamed. Most people begged, but she bit down on her lip so hard blood ran from her mouth, mixing with the darker stains spreading across her side. Clay dismounted fast, boots crunching as he crossed the ground. "Hey, easy," he said, voice low, steady. Rancher's voice. "The kind you use on a wounded animal so it doesn't bolt and die faster." Her eyes snapped to him, wide, terrified, strong. I can't feel my legs right," she whispered. "It hurts." "God, it hurts." Clay followed her gaze to her dress, torn, soaked through. A bullet wound, low and ugly. Bandits had been roaming this stretch for weeks. He'd warned the town. No one listened. "This is my first time," she said suddenly, breath shaking. "I've never been shot before." Clay swallowed. He'd stitched horses in the rain, pulled shrapnel from hired hands with nothing but whiskey and wire. But this was different. She was young. Not a child, but not hardened by the West either. The desert hadn't broken her yet. He tore open his saddlebag, hands moving from muscle memory while his mind screamed. If the bullet was lodged deep, she'd bleed out before sundown. If he didn't act now, she'd die right there in the dirt. She watched his hands. "What are you doing?" Clay met her eyes, and for the first time since his wife died, his voice shook. "I'm going to take it out." Her breath hitched. "Here? There's no town close enough." She grabbed his sleeve. Her fingers were ice cold. "Please, don't let me die." Clay froze. The desert went silent. Then he said the only honest thing he could. "It'll be over quick." He poured whiskey over his hands, over the wound. She screamed then, raw and tearing, echoing across the land. Clay worked fast, jaw locked, sweat blinding him. Every second felt like an hour. Blood soaked his shirt. His hands trembled, but he didn't stop. Finally, metal scraped bone. He pulled the bullet free. Her scream broke into sobs. Clay pressed cloth hard against the wound, tying it tight, lifting her gently. "You're alive," he said. "You hear me? You're alive." She clung to him like the world was ending. And somewhere deep inside, Clay knew this moment had just changed both of them forever. If this story already has you hooked, don't forget to subscribe, because what happens next will stay with you long after the dust settles. She woke to the smell of coffee and wood smoke. For a moment, she thought she was dead. Then the pain returned, dull, deep, real. Clay sat across the cabin, sharpening a knife, eyes lifting the instant she stirred. "Easy," he said. "You're safe." Tears slid down her temples. "You stayed." He nodded once. "Didn't have much choice." Days passed. Then weeks. Her name was Eliza. She'd been headed west to teach school. New life. First time leaving home. First time believing the world might be kinder than the stories. The bullet wound healed slowly. Clay changed the bandages every morning, his hands careful, respectful. He never crossed a line. Never looked too long. The desert had taken enough from him already. His wife, his hope, his mercy. He wasn't about to take anything from her. But something grew anyway. Quiet conversations at sunset. Shared silence. Laughter that surprised them both. One night, thunder rolled over the plains. Eliza sat by the fire, staring into the flames. "When you said it'd be over quick, I thought you were lying." Clay smiled faintly. "I was." She met his eyes. "Thank you for not letting go." Bandits came back near the full moon. Clay fought like a man who'd already lost everything once and refused to lose again. Guns cracked. Dust flew. One man fell. Another ran. When it was over, Clay stood bleeding, breathing hard. Eliza ran to him. "It hurts?" she asked. He nodded. She tore cloth, pressing it to his wound the same way he once had for her. "It'll be over quick," she said softly. Clay laughed, a broken healing sound. The desert watched them that night, stars burning bright overhead. Two survivors, two broken beginnings. No promises, no lies. Just life, hard, painful, and worth fighting for. The desert never truly slept, but that night, it listened. Moonlight spilled across the ranch like pale fire, silvering the fence posts and the longhorn skull nailed above the barn door. Clay sat on the porch steps, rifle across his knees, staring into the dark stretch where the bandits had vanished weeks ago. The wind carried the scent of sage and something else, change. Behind him, the cabin door creaked. Eliza stepped out slowly, wrapped in a wool blanket. She moved carefully now, favoring her side less with each passing day. Healing had a sound to it if you listened closely, bones knitting, breath deepening, fear loosening its grip. "You're going to wear a hole in the dark if you keep staring at it," she said softly. Clay didn't turn right away. Dark's got a habit of staring back. She came to sit beside him, the boards cool beneath her palms. For a while, neither spoke. Silence between them had learned how to be gentle. "I dreamed about it again," Eliza said at last. "The shot, the fall. I keep hearing my own voice saying it hurts, like it's happening all over." Clay finally looked at her. In the moonlight, she seemed older than when he'd found her, and stronger. "First times leave scars you don't always see." She nodded. "I thought being brave meant not being afraid." She managed a small smile. "Turns out it means standing still while you are." The next morning brought dust and trouble. A rider appeared at the far edge of the property, hat pulled low, horse lathered, and wild-eyed. Clay was on his feet in an instant. The man barely stayed in the saddle long enough to shout, "They're back! More of them! Headed this way!" Eliza felt the old fear spike, but it didn't paralyze her this time. She watched Clay move, calm and deadly precise, loading weapons, setting positions. This wasn't panic. This was purpose. "You should hide," he said, handing her a revolver anyway. "But if it comes to it, aim low. Don't hesitate." Her hand trembled as she took it. "Clay, I've never—" "I know," he said gently. "First times are the worst." The bandits came like a storm. Shots cracked the air. Wood splintered. Horses screamed. Clay moved through the chaos with grim focus, defending the land that had already taken so much from him. Eliza stayed low, heart pounding so loud she thought the desert could hear it. Then one man broke through, too close. Eliza raised the gun. Her breath caught. Her hands steadied. She fired. The sound rang through her bones. The bandit fell, stunned more than wounded, scrambling away into the dust. Eliza sank to her knees, shaking, not from fear alone, but from the realization that she had chosen to live. When it was over, the silence returned, heavy, stunned. Clay found her sitting by the fence, staring at her hands. "You okay?" She looked up, eyes bright with tears that didn't fall. "It hurt," she said honestly. "But it didn't end me." Clay exhaled, something loosening in his chest that had been tight for years. He offered his hand. She took it. As the sun rose, painting the desert gold, Eliza realized something profound. First times weren't about pain alone. They were thresholds. Once crossed, you were never the same, but you were still standing. And sometimes standing was enough. If this chapter pulled you deeper into their journey, subscribe to the channel. The story of Clay and Eliza isn't over yet. And the desert still has lessons to teach.